All right, boys and girls, thank you for joining me today. We are going to do a new fable today. Now, yesterday we started talking about fables, and we said that fables are fiction, right? Fables usually involve animals. They don't have to, but a lot of times they do, and the animals will talk. And we call that personification. That's a new literary word for you. So when you have something that's not a human, but they're doing human things like talking, that's called personification. All right. And we also talked about how fables are our oldest form of stories, and they always have a lesson. And our word for that is a moral. So today we're going to read The Ant and the Dove. Now, I have a copy I'm going to show you, and as we're reading, I want you to follow along with your copy. You can either, if you have your packet, you can get it out of your packet and look at it, or I put a copy on the Google assignment that you can pull up also, so you can read along with me. All right, so let's get that screen shared together so we're looking at the same thing. All right, and let's read The Ant and the Dove. Long ago, a tiny red ant crept to the edge of a riverbank. As it leaned forward to quench its thirst, it was carried away by the swift current. The ant called for help in its teeny tiny voice. Before long, the tiny ant heard wings beating above it. A lovely dove had plucked a twig from a branch overhanging the water and dropped it right in front of the ant. The tiny ant climbed onto the twig and rode it safely back to shore. That evening, the tiny ant watched as two boys stood at the base of the tree in which the dove was resting. The boys searched for the perfect drop to load into their sturdy slingshot and took aim at the dove. Ant and his friends rushed toward the boy and climbed onto their ankles and then onto their legs. The ants bit the boys fiercely until the boys turned and ran for home. Hearing the commotion, the dove looked down to see the events unfold. As she rested that evening, she was thankful that she had taken time to help when she heard the tiny ant call earlier in the day. Now it tells us down at the bottom that the moral of our story is one good turn deserves another. How would you put that in your own words? Let's take a look at some of the things in our story. First off, at the beginning of the story, what was the problem? Well, actually, let's go back before that. Let's talk about our two main characters. Who are the two main characters in our story? Now, this time, our characters are animals. Remember, yesterday we did the wind and the sun, and our characters were forces of nature. Today, we do have animals, which is very characteristic of fables. So we have our ant and our dove. And what was the problem in the beginning of the story? It tells us that ant leaned forward and fell into the water. Now, I like this. I'm looking for something. Anecdote. I like this word right here. Let's see if I can get this. Oh, that's not what I wanted. I'm sorry, boys and girls. Miss Long is trying to figure it all out. Look right here at this word. This is the word I want you to look at. The word quench. Okay, let's get a better color than that. The word quench. What do you think it means? It says, as it leaned forward to quench its thirst. Have you ever been super thirsty? Maybe you were outside playing or playing a sport and you took a big drink of water. And when you took that big drink of water, you weren't thirsty anymore. It's like it just coated your throat. It quenched your thirst. Imagine your thirst is like a fire and it put it out. You weren't thirsty anymore. Now, it also says that ant was carried away by the swift current. Oh, yeah, that's a better color. By the swift current. What do you think swift meant? Do you think that a swift current would be a slow moving current or a really fast current? If you said fast current, you're right. The current was so strong, it took Ant and started carrying him downstream, and he started yelling for help, didn't he? And who came and helped him? A lovely dove. How did the dove help him? Did the dove swoop down and pick him up in his beak and fly away? It says that the dove plucked a twig from a branch and dropped it right in front of the ant, and then it got to climb on to safety. Now let's go on and let's look at what happened in the middle of the story. We had an exciting thing happen. We had two boys come into the story. What were those boys going to do? Were they up to no good? It says they searched for the perfect rock to put into their sturdy slingshot. That's another good word for us right there, sturdy. If something is sturdy, excuse me, if something is sturdy, okay, is it going to break or is it strong? What do you think? Sturdy is another word for something that's very strong. So they were going to do that. What were they going to do with that rock and that slingshot? Do you think that they were making a good choice? Is that something that you would do? Have you ever done that? Have you ever used a rock and a slingshot to maybe hit a bird or another type of animal? I know when Hunter was a little boy, he did that one time and he got in very big trouble. All right, let's get back into our story. So the boys were going to hit the dove with the rock. And how did Ant return the favor? What did Ant do? It says one good turn deserves another. So think about what Dove did and then how it was returned. Now, boys and girls, I want you to go into your Google Classroom and click on your Google Docs, and I want you to find the questions that are going to go along with this. Okay, you can look at them here, but I'm going to put them in a Google Doc so that you can answer them. Okay, and write out your answers. And I look forward to seeing what you put. Make sure when you finish your assignment, you click that you have finished and you share it back to me. And that way I can look at it and I can give you your feedback. All right, boys and girls. Let's click off that. I want to see you one more time. So until tomorrow, I want you to think about this question, this fable that we read, and we will join each other for another fable on Wednesday. All right. I miss you. Love you.